Welcome to Horror Year, where every story is a journey into the unknown. If you're brave enough to face your darkest fears and uncover the most chilling tales, you've come to the right place. So, dim the lights, turn up the volume, and subscribe to Horror Year. Your journey into terror begins now. The ancient village of Ravenswood, tucked away in a valley covered in fog where time seemed to stand still, had long captivated Clara. Ghosts, cursed fields, and the most sinister of all, the cursed well at the center of Ravenswood, were all part of the village's gloomy legends. Others followed the generations-old cautions, but Clara couldn't help but be fascinated by the old well and the sinister legends that surrounding it. The well was tucked away, encircled by thick, tangled forests and covered in twisting vines. It was said that if one looked too deeply into it, they would be drawn into a world of darkness where lost souls roamed indefinitely. Clara felt as like someone or something was calling to her, but she was powerless to fight the attraction. With just a faint lantern to lead her, Clara ventured into the woods one foggy autumn evening. Shadows moved in her peripheral vision, as though there were monsters hiding just out of sight, and the cold air seemed to sink into her bones. Silent and ominous, she finally arrived in the clearing where the well stood. A rotting wooden frame hung perilously over the opening, and its stones were moss-covered and weathered, as though the trees themselves were holding their breath. The air around them felt oddly still. Holding her lantern high to shine light into the well, Clara approached warily. As she looked into the darkness, a wave of fear washed over her. Abruptly from the depths, she heard a faint, infantile murmur. "Aid me, Clara." Clara stopped. How was her name known to it? Her hands gripped the damp, chilly stone as she knelt by the well's edge. Her curiosity overcame her trepidation as she leaned closer. The voice shouted out again, more clearly this time. "Clara, please, assist me." Clara couldn't help but call back, "Who are you? What are you looking for?" She was shivered by the response, which was hardly more than a murmur. "I'm confined. It's freezing down here. Please." Clara hesitated, but she felt a strong impulse. She felt as though she was being guided by unseen hands as she reached into the depths. The hand suddenly slipped, and she was flung forward, the lamp falling out of her hand and into the darkness. She frantically tried to stop herself, but she was falling into an apparently endless darkness. Clara opened her eyes to discover that she was resting on damp, cold stones. The air smelled like rot and was heavy and dense. There was no sign of her lamp, and the only illumination came from a spooky blue glow coming from the well's walls. Clara was horrified to discover that Ravenswood was no longer her home. It was much worse here. The temperature seemed to plummet with each breath, and she shivered as she stood up. Far above her, the well's walls appeared to enclose her as though they were alive. Grotesque forms that laughed and muttered as they passed were shadows moving over the walls. They appeared to be making fun of her, as if they were aware of a horrible secret she was still unaware of. "Clara." The voice reappeared, but this time it wasn't that of a youngster. It was hollow, deeper, and full of hate. "Who are you?" Although Clara's voice wavered, she made an effort to remain calm. A figure with a hooded cloak covering its face stepped out of the darkness. Its skeletal hands appeared to be reaching out for her, their long, twisted fingers twisted. A putrid green light blazed from the hollow eye sockets visible when the figure's head rose. It shrieked, "I am the defender of this well, the protector of those who venture to look into its depths. The newest idiot to join the lost souls here is you, Clara." "No." Clara took a step back, but she had nowhere to go. She felt trapped in the little area as the well's walls appeared to shut in. "Oh, that's right." With a sound like nails on stone, the figure laughed. "The well has attracted many people before you, all of whom thought they may be able to discover its secrets. Now everyone wanders around here, ensnared in a never-ending blackness." Clara's thoughts were racing. She had to get away, but the stifling air and the jeering shadows made her feel weaker by the moment. Then a dim recollection came to her. The childhood tales she had heard. At one point, her grandmother had told her that there was only one route out of the well, and that it had a guardian, a spirit that was cursed. Clara summoned the fortitude to speak, her voice trembling. "This is not required of you. You are free. The curse must be broken somehow." With its horrific visage contorted with anger and misery, the figure appeared surprised. "Free? Neither I nor anyone else who falls into this well can be free. All of us are bound here. But what if..." Clara hesitated, trying to find the right words. "What if you were forgiven by someone? You could be set free by someone who has the guts to confront you." Once more the figure made a hollow, sour laugh. "Pardon me? There is no forgiveness for what I have done, stupid girl. I cannot be saved." Despite her racing heart, Clara took a step forward. "Tell me your name. Share your tale with me. Perhaps there is a way." With its skeletal hand hanging over Clara as though to touch her, the figure hesitated. "I used to be like you," it muttered in a quieter, almost melancholy tone. "I used to work in Ravenswood as a healer. However, I made a grave error, and the villagers, thinking I had betrayed them, cursed me to this day. My soul was destined to protect the darkness forever when I was cast down here. As she said, 'Then I forgive you. For whatever you did.'" Clara's voice faltered. "I pardon you." The well grew silent, and the shadows ceased to move for a while. With a sigh of relief and grief, the figure appeared to vanish, its green eyes fading. It said, "Thank you," and disappeared, leaving Clara by alone in the quiet. There was a slight flicker of light overhead as the well's walls started to move and open. Clara climbed as hard as she could, her hands gripping the rocks. Breathing heavily, she stepped out into the chilly night air and was once again in the woods outside Ravenswood. Even though the well was dark and silent as usual, Clara could sense a shift. The curse has been broken by her. The lost and the curious would no longer be claimed by the well. Knowing that she had released not just the spirit but also a part of herself that had yearned for courage, she felt an odd calmness descend upon her as she left. Though the whispering had ceased, she will always be plagued by the memories of that chilly, shadowy location. She was aware as she made her way back to the hamlet that although the well was no longer cursed, it would always bore the mark of the lives who had perished there, and her own struggle to break free from its awful hold. And that brings us to the end of today's delightful story. I really hope it had you on the edge of your seat. If you liked this story, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. It means a lot to me. And if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. There's always an exciting surprise waiting just around the corner and you won't want to miss it. Do you have a spooky story to share or a fun idea for our next tale? Feel free to share in the comments below. I'm really curious to know what gives you the creeps the most. And as always, take care, keep exploring. And remember, sometimes the most chilling tales are the ones left untold. Catch you in the next one, if you're up for it.